What is happening with the Apple AirTags? These were first rumored back in 2019, and we got so many leaks on these, from the UI leak in iOS 13 to the full actual design, yet almost 2 years later, and we still don't have them. Instead, Samsung ended up releasing their own smart tracker ahead of Apple, with reports that Samsung only started working on one after hearing the rumors that Apple was working on one as well. Anyway, get those snacks ready, because in this video I will be covering everything we know about the AirTags so far and when we actually expect them to be released. Okay, so let's talk about what the AirTags are first. Most of you have likely already seen our previous AirTag videos, but for those of you who haven't, they're essentially these tiny trackers that you would place inside your bag, on your keychain, pretty much anywhere you want, and then you'll be able to track that AirTag, and therefore that item, directly from Apple's Find My app, which you can find on your iPhone, iPad, or Mac, or even on iCloud.com. The idea is pretty simple, and in fact, it is basically identical to these tile trackers, which have been around for more than 8 years now. There is only one big difference between the tile tracker and the Apple tracker, and that is the fact that the tile communicates via Bluetooth, whereas the Apple tracker not only uses Bluetooth, but it's also rumored to have that U1 chip inside, also known as an ultra-wideband chip, which allows for much more precise localization. With Bluetooth, you can locate an object up to about 1 to 2 meters of accuracy. That can be less with newer Bluetooth standards. However, with ultra-wideband technology, you can actually locate the device with up to 5 centimeters of accuracy. And this is what the Apple AirTag tracker will be using, as opposed to just Bluetooth. Now, the way these trackers work is quite interesting. For something like the tile tracker, if you do lose your bag, other tile users that walk nearby, as long as they have the tile app installed, they would automatically become finders, and your tag would automatically connect to those phones, and those phones would then ping to the tile server that, hey, Daniel's tile has been found. The only problem with this is, of course, the number of tile users. So in my area, there are 1,499 tile users, according to the tile app at least. Now, you might think that that's actually a large number, but when you realize that this is actually a very large part on the map of the Greater Manchester area, which includes 2.8 million people, you'll realize that this number is actually very tiny. This is where the AirTags functionality will come into place, as pretty much anyone who has an iPhone and is running on the latest version of iOS will become a finder for your AirTag. What this means is that if 50% of the total population of Greater Manchester, as an example, has an iPhone, that would mean that 1.4 million people in my area will be iOS users. Now, according to a few reports from December 2020, 81% of the iPhones were already running on the latest version of iOS, which would translate to over 1.1 million eligible finders in the Greater Manchester area. So that's 737 times more chances of finding your item compared to tile, which is a massive difference. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, are the AirTags even secure? What if you have your AirTag in your bag and someone with an iPhone walks near you? Would that mean that everyone would know where Daniel's tag is, and therefore you? Well, not really. You see, Craig Federighi actually gave The Wired some insights into how the new Find My functionality works in iOS 14. For this to work, you need at least 2 Apple devices. Let's say that you have an iPhone and an AirTag which is in your bag, a bag which unfortunately got left on a bus, both of which are given a private key by Apple the first time you sign into iCloud on these devices. Now, that key is identical to these machines, and it is encrypted so that only these 2 machines have the key and can read it. For the sake of simplicity, let's say that this key is ABC. Each device in the Find My app, including the AirTags, will constantly emit a public key. So think of this as an identifier which can be picked up by other devices in the area. So sort of like a rescue beacon on a ship. This public key will reset every few minutes, and the rules based on which it will reset are based on that private key. So very similar to how two-factor authentication actually works. Again, for the sake of simplicity, let's say that the rule the public key is generated on is that the characters 1, 3, and 5 of the public key are the first characters in the private key. So we'll have something like A, exclamation mark, B, hashtag, C, question mark, and then the next code will follow the same rule, just with other random characters. So if someone with an iPhone walks by, it will be able to detect the public key that the AirTag has been sending and send it to Apple servers, alongside the encrypted location of where the AirTag was found. Now, since this is all encrypted when it gets to Apple, Apple will not be able to track where you actually are, or even know which device the public keys belong to. Instead, when you open up your iPhone and start looking for the AirTag, your iPhone will generate all the public keys that can be generated using your private key rule, and then look through all the public keys stored on Apple server until it finds a match. And when it does, your iPhone will know that that lost device belongs to you. The iPhone then grabs the encrypted location of the AirTag from Apple servers and decrypts it using the private key. And this way it will know exactly where your AirTag is without anyone else knowing. So I hope all of this makes sense. But yeah, this is pretty much how it works. The device that finds your AirTag will only be aware of where it found it and not who it belongs to. And Apple won't even know that that is your AirTag, as they wouldn't have had that private key to read who it belongs to. And thanks to Apple's push for AR, we've seen reports that you would actually be able to trigger AR mode and see exactly where the AirTag is once you get close enough to it. And of course that all of this functionality will apply to not just the AirTags, but other Apple devices too. So Macs with a T2 chip, and Apple's own silicon will be able to be located offline, as well as all the recent iPhones. And we iPhone 11 and newer with that U1 chip, which is also known as the ultra-wide band technology that I mentioned before, they will be able to be located even more precisely than the ones without it. So far, so good, but I do have a few concerns regarding the AirTags. The first one is, of course, the price. We just don't know how expensive the AirTags will be, and if I had to guess, I would guess about £49 in the UK. Like, I would like to see these to be like £29 or even £19, but I just do not see that happening. My point is that these will be, very likely, the most expensive trackers that you can buy. The Tile tracker starts at £19, the brand new Samsung tracker costs £29, and this is why I expect Apple's one to be at least £39, if not even more, like £49. Also, the Samsung one does lack the ultra-wideband technology at the moment, and so does the Tile one. So it kind of makes sense for the AirTag to be more expensive. My second concern is when it comes to supported devices. I mean, sure, it will support pretty much any iOS device, whether it's an iPhone or an iPad, but it's very likely that Mac support will not be there. Just like how the Mac is still missing the AirPods pairing functionality that iOS has. And not only that, but Samsung's own tracker works on Android as well as on iOS. Well, to the extent where you can download the app, it's just that they will need to update so that you can see the tag in the app, because at the moment, the tag isn't there for whatever reason. And the Tile tracker already works perfectly with both iOS and Android, whilst being the most affordable option. And my third concern is literally that, options. You see, with Tile, you have a ton of different shapes that you can choose from. You have the standard shape, but then you also have a wallet shape that fits perfectly into your wallet, just like a credit card. Or you also have one that actually sticks onto anything. So Tile is far more convenient. We have seen reports and even patents that Apple is planning on releasing first-party accessories for the AirTags, but those could just be limited to regular keychains. Now, I really doubt that Apple will have an option for you to stick the AirTag on the back of your bike or anything like that, as this is something that will likely have to rely on third-party manufacturers for. Speaking of that, our good friends at FollowPaw come really in handy here. So they're selling this dog collar that has a pouch where you can place a smart tracker and then track your pet in case it runs away. They're not a sponsor, by the way, but we do have an affiliate deal with them, so if you use the link below, you do support the channel, as we do earn a small commission from the sales too, and you get to check out a pretty cool product while doing so. Now, going back to the AirTags, you've probably all seen Jon Prosser's design leak on these. Jon has been right in the past when it came to the design. He has also been wrong about release dates, but he has also been quite right in terms of mostly specs and design, at least in most cases. Anyway, we actually made our own version of the concept here, something that resembles the iPhone 12 and the iPad Pro's flat edge more, just to make something different than replicating, you know, Jon's leak here. But if I had to guess, I think I would trust Jon's AirTag leak here. It's just that going by Apple's new design philosophy, we think that this is what makes the most amount of sense. But let us know in the comments which design style do you guys prefer. And now you're all probably wondering, when will the AirTags actually launch? Well, according to Jon Prosser, they're pretty much ready to ship, and Apple's just been waiting for COVID restrictions to ease, as the AirTags do require, lots of devices around, and in a time where travel is heavily restricted, they just wouldn't work. It's difficult to market them, and it's just also difficult to use them outdoors too. Now, Jon Prosser has recently stated that they will be released in spring 2021, and Apple usually has a bunch of product drops in March, so I think there's a good chance that we'll actually see them unveiled and released next month. But it could of course be pushed again if COVID cases do continue to rise. But if I could bet on a launch, I would have to agree with John here. I think March makes the most amount of sense. Now, keep in mind that we started hearing about the AirTags back in 2019, and they should have been released back in 2020, but ended up being constantly pushed. The most likely release was in September alongside the new iPhones, but I guess COVID got worse then, and the next logical window after that would be March. So I think it's going to be March, but I guess that we'll have to wait a few more weeks and see. But let me know in the comments your thoughts on the AirTags. Do you think they are overall a good idea? And what price would they have to be in order for you to buy a bunch of these? And where would you actually use them? What would you track? In my case, probably my bag, definitely my keys, and likely my bike too. But yeah, give this a like if you enjoyed it. Definitely subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one, and don't forget to hit the bell icon to be notified whenever a new video comes out. So only 18.4% of you have hit the bell. Let's bring that up to at least 20. Can we do that? But yeah, thank you for watching. This has been Zen of Tech. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Zen of Tech, signing out. Cheers.